So in a major achievement today, India has test-fired a hypersonic missile, making it part of a very exclusive club of countries with this advanced military technology, something that is acquiring a great deal of attention both in India and abroad. Joining us now to explain the implications of this test, what it means for India's military capability, is, of course, Lieutenant General P.R. Shankar, someone who has been the Director General of Artillery for the Indian Army, is currently a professor in the Aerospace Department at IIT Madras. He runs Gunner Shot, which is a YouTube channel on security and defense and strategic issues, and someone who in his army career was associated with the Agni and Prithvi missile tests as well. General Shankar, thank you so much for joining us. Could you begin by explaining to our audience very generally the importance of this test of this hypersonic missile? What does it mean for India and its defense capabilities?
Thanks a lot at the outset for inviting me for this discussion. And I must congratulate our scientists for this successful launch of the hypersonic missile. I think it's a tremendous capability on its own. Like you rightly said, we are one of those countries which have hypersonic missiles, full technology, own indigenous. That's the watchword. And you have a range of 1,500 kilometers with multiple warheads. I think it sends a strong message to the globe, and especially to China and our other adversaries. That's the first part. And this development has been in the offing for over now about 4 or 5 years, and the work probably would have started long back. But I think it's a good thing to happen, and it puts a lot of things in balance. That's the first thing. The second thing is that when you see this in isolation, it doesn't seem much. But just look back. Very recently, we also conducted the Pinaka missile system, the guided missile system. And France is now willing to buy it, or rather looking at it very seriously. And this missile system has been fired, as I understand, in altitudes also very well. Earlier in the year, we fired the Agni 5 with MIRV capability, multiple independent re-entry vehicles. And then we also fired the LACM, that is the Nirbhay subsonic cruise missile. So what has happened in the past 1 year? You have enhanced your technological capability manifold. And don't forget, there are other things also which have happened together. Like you commissioned Arigat, your second nuclear sub, which is part of your triad. So when you look at it individually as this event of a hypersonic missile firing, it is fantastic. But when you look at it as a whole package, in the past 1 year, there's a huge capability enhancement. Technology. Technologically, we keep saying, no, we don't have technology X, Y, Z. But I think this is a mark that we are well up on missile technology and related technologies, because missile technology is just not one technology. It's propulsion, guidance, material, 3D printing, the works,
right.
AI. I'm sure a lot of AI has gone into this. Right. Now, if you look at outside the space of weapon manufacturing and things like that, just look at it a little more. In the past 1 year, your infrastructure on the border has gone up. You opened the Sela Pass, then the Atal Tunnel. Then, of course, the Shrinkula is almost on its way through, and the Zojila Tunnel. When this comes through, my God, the whole thing will change. And then you also made tremendous progress in space technology. So if you look at it as a collective now, I'm now getting out of missile technology and things like that. You're going to infrastructure, space technology, everything put together. I think we are sending a lot of people very strong messages.
Understood, sir.
Right? I'm not going to compare what we have achieved today morning with what China has. But when you look at it, the Chinese hypersonic missile system, DF-17, which has been deployed, which is operational, and this are almost the same. The Chinese missile system has got about 2,500 kilometers range, 1,800 to 2,500. Here we say it's about 1,500. That's what is reported. but there's no comparisons. There's no comparison because our range is what we are capable of at this point of time and what fits us, right? And we also have to forget, we should not forget that China has a very poor geography. It has the biggest navy, but the poorest reach. Ours, our navy might be small, but our ranges, etc., might be small, but you have the biggest reach. This missile enables you to reach almost the west coast of Africa to the Malacca Strait. And you add your island territories, then your reach becomes huge. And if you add your triad element, then the possibilities are huge.
Understood.
Also, one thing which I forgot, we also fired the BrahMos air-launched version earlier this year or late last year. It escapes me. So overall, if you see, this is something really good. These were my, initial views. If you have any questions, I'm sure I'll take them on.
Understood, sir. May I ask you then begin with explaining to our viewers what exactly a hypersonic missile is, why there has been such a rush among many countries to develop this technology, how exactly does it add to India's military capabilities? If you could, for a general audience, explain those basic questions.
I'll do that. Any missile which is fired at 5 Mach plus or 5 times the speed of sound or more is a hypersonic missile. For example, the BrahMos, which is a cruise missile, it fires at about, it travels at about 3 Mach. That is 3 times the speed of sound. It's a supersonic missile. And that technology and this thing would have given us a lot of input to handle this missile and develop this missile. Now, what happens? The current missile which has been fired is 9 Mach, right? 9 Mach is quite a lot. Now, and this is also a missile which travels very fast. Obviously, 9 Mach is. Now, what happens in a hypersonic missile is the missile is fired, it goes to its maximum height, right? And then it lets go, there's a stage separation where it lets go a hypersonic glide vehicle. And that hypersonic glide vehicle is aerodynamically shaped vehicle, something like a small plane. But the only thing is it glides. Since it's aerodynamically well shaped, the speed doesn't fall. So it almost maintains its speed. And since it's coming down from a great height, the gravity assists in maintaining its speed. It actually catches speed. So it hits the target very fast. And then you can maneuver this glide vehicle, either through the satellite or other means, or inertial means or whatever. Those will not get into. It can maneuver very fast and hit the target before the target can react. And at the end, this is got depending on the warhead which is used, it goes and does damage to the target. The good thing about, or the dangerous thing about this missile is there are very few defenses against it, right? You can't knock it down with normal AD systems. Before you know before you say Jack Robinson, it's on your head. And in any case, if it's going to do a last minute steep dive right from this thing, it's very difficult to catch it. So that's what makes this missile very difficult. In the world, I don't see many countries which have this capability. China has, Russia has. They've used the Kinzhal missile in Ukraine. In fact, they fired a hypersonic missile in Ukraine. USA has the capability. I don't know whether they've not operationalized it. That I'm very clear. Last I heard was they did a test which failed. So they might be on the verge of hypersonic capability. And I don't know which other country has a hypersonic capability. So it puts us in the elite club. And if you look at it from a different angle, the missile compact which you have an operational guided weapon system in Pinaka. You have unguided BrahMos, unguided Smerch weapon system, which we bought from Russia some time back. Then you have a guided cruise missile, BrahMos, which is it is supersonic. It's almost hypersonic. That is very difficult to intercept. And then now you have this. Plus, the other strategic variants with the MIRV. MIRV is multiple independent re-entry vehicle, where you fire a missile, it goes into the atmosphere on its re-entry. There are 4 or 5 or 6, it depends on how it is
Mm.
constructed. Small independent warheads which go on to different targets. It gives you multi-target capability.
Mm.
So it's a huge enhancement. I think we should be proud of our scientists and our forces who are going to handle this whole story. I hope I answered the question which you
Absolutely.
asked. Yeah,
So
anything else you would like to know,
absolutely,
please
sir.
do.
If I could ask, sir, in terms of the broader strategic picture, you were talking about China, its development of hypersonic missiles, conversations about the DF-17, the DF-27. Could I ask you about the broader strategic environment that India faces that has spurred the development of this hypersonic missile over the last 4 or 5 years? Is it more that India has noticed a deterioration in the threat environment in the Indo-Pacific more broadly? Is it the threat from China, which has developed this technology as well? What exactly are the strategic compulsions for India to have developed this technology?
Look, the very fact that you are in a very dangerous neighborhood. On one side, you have China, which has been aggressive on the LAC. Till now, it has not taken a step back. In fact, they were assertive during Eastern Ladakh, and they were threatening us with all kinds of things. And they are in competition with USA, and they've developed all these missile systems. They call them carrier killers and all that. If they are carrier killers for the USA, they're carrier killers for you also. And with their ranges of 2 to 3,000 kilometers, they can hit our heartland. And so the threat is there. On the other side, you have Pakistan, which has acquired missile technology and nuclear technology through proliferation from, you know, China and North Korea. And they've been carrying out tests. Just about, I think, 15 days back, they carried out a test in the North Arabian Sea of one of their naval missiles. And then, of course, there is this cooperation between China and Pakistan, where they're doing a lot of naval exercises, and Pakistan is acquiring a lot of naval equipment, including submarines and destroyers. And all these will one day get deployed in Gwadar. Now you look at Gwadar and you look at Djibouti, which is a Chinese base. And if China establishes its base, it's a matter of time. They will. After all, that's why they're paying the Pakistanis all that money for development of Gwadar. And Pakistanis will be more than happy to have the Chinese, host the Chinese in Gwadar. If they come up, then the security environment in this entire thing will deteriorate. And remember, our energy lines are completely, a lot of them are tied to the Gulf, whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it is Gulf countries, or tomorrow it could be Iran, right? And we've used to take a lot of oil from Iran. So, and all this comes through either the, Strait of Hormuz or, Bab al Mandab. So to that extent, there's a threat here. On the other side, on the LAC, there is a threat. And then China is trying to, solve its Malacca dilemma through other methods. We know that they are trying to send their, submarines here. That's why all those spy vessels keep coming to Hambantota or even Myanmar and also Maldives. They're trying to establish a port at Chokfu, Myanmar, and then get a direct entry into the Bay of Bengal. And considering all this, you have to have your capability to, look after your interests. And our interests, as what our previous Prime Minister long back had said, Mr. Manmohan Singh, that our strategic interests lie from the Gulf of Aden to the Strait of Malacca. So you have those interests. After all, we are a regional power. And then, of course, you have to defend your country, you have to defend your territorial integrity and sovereignty. And a country like China respects strength. You need strength. You need all-round strength. That's why in the beginning I said it's not just this missile system. This missile system adds to your strength. But if you look at it holistically, along with other missile systems, then the infrastructure, then the space, progress we made in space, and other issues. After all, now you're getting to be a little more Atmanirbhar, at least our plans are there in terms of semiconductors, AI, and new technologies. So unless you are up to it, you will be at a disadvantage vis-a-vis China and Pakistan, which will collude at any given point of time. And let's not forget, as our economy expands, and soon we'll be the third or the fourth largest economy, we will be a regional power. There's no getting away from it. And if you are a regional power, you need to back your power with guns, literally.
Right.
And if you have to do that, you need these. After all, these are all bigger guns. You also see worldwide. You see, even non-state actors like Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah, using these missiles. And Iran has proliferated to them, and Iran projects their power through these people and rockets. Rockets are their main currency. You look at North Korea. North Korea also, keeps carrying out these tests and threatens everyone. So in this kind of environment where North Korea and China use coercion through rockets, right? Strategic coercion. So in this kind of an environment, I think if today what has happened is a great strengthener. It reinforces our strategic capabilities in a larger sense by miles. I hope I've put the strategic perspective in its right perspective.
Absolutely.
Any other question you have?
Absolutely, sir. If I may ask you one or two final questions, in terms of, you've already touched upon this, but if I could ask you to stress upon a little more in terms of how you think countries around the world are likely to receive this development of India's successful test. On one level, there have been concerns about a arms race when it comes to hypersonic missile technology between Russia, China, the United States. The United States has notably slightly lagged behind in the development, as you were mentioning, of this hypersonic weapon. So how do you think the world is going to receive this news of India's successful test? Could I also ask you how China specifically is going to see the development of this, or the successful test of this hypersonic missile?
Look, India has arrived. Let me be very honest. Okay. India was always a part, and each milestone like this we touch, base, our strength enhances. You have to look at it, Chinese talk of comprehensive national power. I don't believe in that concept because that can be faked, and Chinese fake it. But they talk a lot about Chinese, comprehensive national power. In terms of comprehensive national power, this is a force multiplier. And China respects strength.
Right.
They know what can happen in case they get entangled with us. Well, they'll make a lot of propaganda about it, arms race and all that. Arms race, fine, but each country has to take care of its own interests. Our interests lie in being a strong country. Okay, and if you are going to be the fourth pole in the multipolar world, when I say fourth pole, this is a year back. There was a cartoon in South China Morning Post which showed the president of USA, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Xi Jinping, and Putin at four corners of the world and pulling it apart. But if you're going to be one of those, as what Chinese perceive, you must live up to it, right? In the neighborhood, it's going to make an effect. Already, people in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and in Maldives have started understanding that it is only India which can stand up to China. And this is what someone has said from Singapore, right? There's someone from Singapore and someone from Philippines. I read this commentary that it is only India which has given a bloody nose to China. And this is a commentary from a Philippine think tank. So strength matters, and the hypersonic missile adds to your strength. And if you're not a strong country, if you're a strong country economically, you need to be a strong country militarily also. So there's no getting away from it. There's no arms race in this. It's our interest. We should back our interest. We are in no race with anyone. But if someone wants to be in a race, it's his headache. But if someone trifles with us, he should know what he's getting. That's my view of this whole story.
Understood, sir. So if I can ask you one final question, and thanking you for your overview of this, what are the future steps in terms of the development of the hypersonic missile, but in India's missile capabilities more generally? You've seen strategically how the world is evolving in terms of different missile technologies and India's missile preparedness. What are the future steps for India in terms of technologies that need to be developed, in terms of scale that needs to be achieved, in terms of the manufacture and
Yeah.
successful
Look,
induction of these weapons?
yeah, the first step is, look, today was just the first firing. The first thing is you have to operationalize this and put it on ground, right? And you have to not only operationalize it, you have to develop different warheads. Some work would have gone, but today I don't think warheads and all were tested. So you have to put that in. So that's the first step, operationalizing this system. When you look at the next system in this, I think we have to now start looking at hypersonic cruise missiles. We also have to look at something which the Chinese did 2 years back, which is a hypersonic glide vehicle with a fractional orbit bombardment system. Right? What is a fractional orbit bombardment system? It is a missile which is launched into space and it orbits the Earth in the atmosphere. And at a pre-designated place, it re-enters the atmosphere and hits the target straight. That is something which China did about 2 years back or 3 years back. I think we need to work on that in terms of the next step along this technology. But overall, I think this development of this missile system would have taught us a lot about other technologies. Which are the technologies which we have to really look at? Now, if you want to really exploit all these missile systems which you have got, you need to have very strong intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capability, right? And that will come if you can have a good compact from human, good communications, good surveillance equipment, drones. You have to mesh drones into the system. And then you need to look at, space-based assets and aerial assets. And then you are on track for whatever you have to do, right? And then you will be okay. So that's the next part, put that entire compact together. So, and then you'll be a very potent force. Then let's look at the technologies per se. This will lead you to better cyber systems, AI, and you must start looking at quantum because quantum will enable you to design things faster and better. Okay. And then you're looking at material technology, and 3D printing and things like that. And simultaneously, you need to develop good drones, long-range drones, near-space systems. I think new space systems, which is run by one retired Air Force officer, very good chap. They're trying, near space systems, which drones which hang almost at the edge of the atmosphere, right? So we should go in for that. That's our next step. And these are the things, and this will have a spillover effect into other systems also. So we have to make way for proliferation of this technology into other developments. Last but not the least, you have a plethora of equipment which has come into, or rather it's in the horizon to entry into service. We need to have a clear idea as to how to put it on ground. That means joint thinking, theaterization, which is the order of the day. And I think the CDS and all the three chiefs will have to sit together and put the theater command system in place and work ahead, because on its own, nothing will happen. And then, of course, you'll have to really start thinking of the rocket force. Do you need it or not? There are pros and cons to having a rocket force or not. But that, I think, is a little over the horizon. Let's take the first steps first. What I've now said largely is over the horizon. But at this point of time, you must do forward thinking. That's my thought process on this entire story.
Understood. Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Shankar. You have explained, I think, in great detail the development of the hypersonic missile, what it means for India's strategic capabilities, how countries around the world are likely to see it, as well as the future of Indian missile capability development. Thank you so much, General Shankar, for your time, and thank you so much for our viewers for joining us on India Today Global.